I had been chatting with Blake on Reddit for weeks. We had bonded together our love of hiking and outdoor adventures. When he asked me out on a date, I was thrilled. I couldn't wait to finally meet him in person. We decided to meet at a small cafe in the city. As I walked towards the cafe, my heart was racing with excitement and nervousness. I took a deep breath and pushed the door. I immediately spotted Blake sitting at the small table. His face lit up as he saw me. He stood up and walked towards me, offering me a warm hug. His presence immediately put me at ease. "Hi, Ashley. It's so great to finally meet you," he said with a smile. "Hi, Blake. It's finally to meet you too," I replied, feeling my cheeks flushed with a hint of excitement. We sat down and ordered our drinks, talking and laughing like we had known each other for years. As we chatted, I couldn't help but notice how handsome Blake was. His jet black hair was perfectly styled and his deep blue eyes were mesmerizing. As the evening went on, I found myself falling for Blake. He was charming, funny, and had a passion for life that was contagious. I couldn't believe that we only just met. It felt like we had known each other for a lifetime. Before we knew it, it was time to leave the cafe. Blake offered to walk me to my car and I happily accepted it. As we strolled down the bursting streets, I couldn't help but feel a connection with him. "Hey, do you want to take a walk in the park nearby?" Blake asked, pointing towards a park that was just a block away. "Sure, that sounds lovely," I replied, smiling. We walked through the park, enjoying the warm night air and the sound of crickets chirping. As we walked, I noticed that there weren't many people around. I didn't think much of it, assuming it was because it was the weeknight. Blake grabbed my hand and pulled me towards a secluded area of the park. I felt a panic arise within me. "Blake? What's going on?" "I'm sorry, Ashley. I have to do this." Before I could react, Blake pushed me into the nearby van. I screamed and tried to fight back, but he was too strong. He quickly tied my hands and feet with ropes, gagging me with a cloth. As the van drove off, I had no idea where he was taking me. Panic and fear were consuming me, and I couldn't believe what was happening. The man I thought was my perfect match was now my kidnapper. I lost track of time as I had taken to a remote cabin in the mountains. I was only kept in a room with no windows, and Blake would only show up to bring me meals and water. He refused to tell me why he had taken me or what he wanted from me. I spent my days trying to come up with a plan to escape, but each time I tried, I was caught and punished. Blake had become a completely different person from the man I had met on Reddit. He was controlling, aggressive, and had a darkness in his eyes that terrified me. One day, while Blake was out getting supplies, I managed to free my hands from the ropes. I searched the room for anything that could help me escape. I found a rusty pair of scissors and a piece of metal that I used to pick the lock on the door. I cautiously made my way out of the room, my heart pounding with adrenaline. I crept towards the front door, trying to make as little noise as possible. Just as I was opening the door, I heard Blake's voice behind me. "Where do you think you're going, Ashley?" he sneered. I turned around to see him standing in the doorway, a menacing look on his face. I knew I had to act fast. With all the strength I could muster, I lunged towards him and managed to push him out of the way. I ran as fast as I could towards the woods, not looking back. I could hear Blake's angry shouts behind me as I ran deeper in the woods. I stumbled upon a nearby stream and quickly waded through it to camouflage my scent. I kept running, my feet feeling like they were going to give out at any moment. As I ran, I heard footsteps behind me. I turned and saw Blake chasing after me, fueled by anger and desperation. I ran faster, knowing that my only chance of survival was to escape him. I didn't stop until I came across a clearing. I looked around frantically, trying to find a place to hide. That's when I saw a small cave hidden behind a cluster of rocks. It was my only chance. I quickly made my way towards the cave, ducking behind the rocks to avoid being seen by Blake. As I entered the cave and turned to block the entrance with rocks, I heard Blake's voice on the other side. "Come on, Ashley. There is no point in hiding," he said in a menacing tone. But I didn't move. I waited until I was sure Blake had given up, and then I carefully made my way out of the cave. I knew I couldn't stay there forever, so I started walking towards the nearest town, hoping to find help. After hours of walking, I finally came across a gas station. I went inside and asked to use the phone to call the police. As I was waiting for them to arrive, I couldn't stop shaking and crying. I was grateful to be alive, but I couldn't shake off the memories of being kidnapped by someone I trusted. The police arrived, and I told them everything that had happened. They searched the area and eventually found the remote cabin in the mountains. Blake was arrested and charged with kidnapping and assault. Although my first day with Blake had turned into a terrifying nightmare, I was grateful for the strength and resilience I had found within myself. I realized that I could handle anything that came my way, and I would never let anyone take away my freedom again. After that experience, I had a newfound appreciation for Reddit and the dangerous side of online dating. I promised to myself to always be cautious and never let my guard down like I had with Blake. But most importantly, I promised myself to never let anyone take away my sense of self and my ability to fight for my life.